in this borough where the developers have not complied with those 106 agreements, and especially in terms of the timescales. And the leader looks at me quite eagerly. I'll mention one of them, and that is.
Can we keep to this particular application, please?
So what I'm saying is that any agreement, any legal agreement, 106 agreement, needs to be robust, and it needs to be deliverable. It's no point making agreements which there is some kind of legal loophole which allows the developer to get away with it, and you could have developments which are tied into 106 agreements. Heritage Brewery site is one of them, where we had a highway improvement in 106 agreement.
Councillor Chowdhury, stick to the particular application.
Okay, the point I'm trying to make is that it could take considerably a number of years before all the commitments in 106 are met, especially highways related. So what I'm saying is that I'm just urging caution that any 106 agreement needs to be...
I think, Councillor Chowdhury, I think that's point taken. I think it's point taken, and it is, and I think it's where we've come to that we are concerned about this link up between the Section 106 and what we actually get on the ground, and I don't think many of us are happy with that at the moment. Councillor Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, disappointing that we've had a member who's not on the planning committee come and lecture us as a planning committee who are well briefed on the issues that we've just listened to and agree with what's just been said. We're clearly not going to get all of the mitigation measures that are going to mean that there is no impact from this application. We're in cloud cuckoo land if we think that by monitoring junctions and monitoring traffic movements, then we'll be able to magically make the problem go away in the future. That's not going to happen unless a new road is put in somewhere, which one of the members of the public suggested. That's not going to happen either. But we have to make a determination, and we have to make a determination which is reasonable. And if we make a determination to refuse this application, and it is not on reasonable grounds, the application will be approved by the Planning Inspectorate without the conditions that we would like to see on it. So I don't see that we have any choice but to approve the application as recommended by our officers.
Councillor Hall, sadly, I have to agree, and that is where I think I would have had to, what I would then have had to say. Can I ask Mr. Evenson to make perhaps his final comment on this roads issue? And then I've got Councillor Chris Smith to speak.
Okay, in terms of picking up the Section 106 agreement contributions, the improvements which have been identified as part of this scheme and others will be done on a phased basis as development comes forward. Because at this moment in time, although sites will possibly get outline permission at some point in the future or somewhere within the borough, what we don't know is how much and where. So in terms of which improvements are needed as and when, then they will be done on a phased basis as the development comes forward. Whether it's needed at day one is questionable, probably unlikely in some cases. Certainly the site accesses will be needed on day one. In terms of contributions and 106 agreements, we as officers, I think we do try and cover all the bases and try and avoid any problems legally, and try and make sure that everything is nailed down. But there is always a route out of something, and the things do change. So it's difficult to say specifics unless you know exactly what's happened at a particular time. In terms of the issues of the county's position with regard to the rat running, there is a scheme proposed by the developer for rat running, mitigation of rat running, and also speeding along Bee Mill Road. But we didn't believe that it was absolutely necessary to put those measures in at day one. But if it was found that there was speeding taking place on Bee Mill Road, and there is rat running through various different routes, then there is the measures in the scheme with a plan showing what will actually be improved. So it's the monitoring to see whether it's necessary, but there is a scheme for which the developers agreed to, and therefore it would be secured within the 106 agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Evenson.
Mr. Chairman,
you wish to come back?
Mr. Chairman, people who live on this site are going to have to get from the site to the A38 one way or another. You cannot mitigate rat running everywhere. They've got to get from that site to the A38 and back again one way or another. And that's going to be through Anslow and Tottenham.
I've got a number of councillors wish to speak. Yeah, I think we've gone over that particular point a number of times, and I think it can be reiterated as long as you want. I think it comes back, Councillor Hall, to where you came from in the first place, that we are where we are with the NPPF. We are where we are with our current situation, and that was what you alluded to, Councillor Hall, and it's a difficulty we have. I have Councillor Chris Smith first.
Thank you, Chairman. There's a small item here, change of theme slightly, on item 4.19, which is showing there could be some archaeological remains on the site. This hasn't been mentioned by anybody up to press, and I'm just a little bit of interest where it is and what is it, what's been done so far.
Can we have a comment from the officer, please?
Yeah, the Staffordshire County Council are consulted on all applications where there is a possibility of archaeological finds underneath the ground. They will provide, or there is a condition mechanism to provide a watching brief over any works that are taking place, and I've no idea exactly what the archaeological remains could be, but there is a suggestion that there's some under there.
Yeah, I think it has been dealt with, isn't it, informative? Okay, thank you. Councillor Mott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I asked this morning about affordable housing, which I believe is 15% on-site, and the other is a commutable sum. Why is it not 30% on-site?
Mr. Brown.
The Housing Choice SPD currently requires 15% for a development such as this, which is what's been secured here. So that is why there's 15% on site on this site.
But doesn't the local plan say 30% for greenfield sites?
The Housing Choice SPD, which is supplementary planning document to supplement the policies in the adopted local plan. It points to a 30% SUE greenfield site, but actually in terms of viability, it's 15% on site is currently deemed to be achievable. The rest of the contribution to be as off-site affordable housing provision, and that's what we've been applying across the board recently.
Well, I was going to say I feel let down. I feel doubly let down now because we don't seem to have any policies which we want to stand by. As far as this is concerned, this development is concerned, I think it's overdevelopment. I think it destroys the local plan and the preferred options. It's bound to change the appearance of the area. It's bound to lead to traffic problems, and the beautiful valley is going to be destroyed, and we don't seem to be able to do anything about it. We've got this gun to our heads saying we don't want to lose control of the decision-making process. I think we have lost control of the decision-making process because I'm afraid that we are going to be blackmailed, shepherded, pushed or whatever into voting for this, even though probably none of us actually wants it. I was shocked this morning when we went to the top of Field Lane and we saw the beautiful views there, that they would actually be hidden by planting of trees if this plan, I know it's only an indicative plan, but indicative plans tend to have a habit of coming into fruition. And the whole view of the valley would be destroyed by having a large number of trees planted there. They don't need trees planted there. They need to be able to see the valley, and it could be used as it is at the moment for arable farming, or it could be planted with grass and used as open space. But certainly there is not a one-size-fits-all solution as far as every development is concerned, and that's what we seem to have here. So I do feel let down. I don't think we can vote as we want to vote, and to me that is totally wrong, and it lets down the people of Outwards who have got, I think, a very strong case.
Councillor. Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. I'd like to go back to the highway issues of £807,000 in the real world doesn't go very far on highway improvements. And I'd like to sort of go back to the original scheme where that was put forward at consultation, that the crossroads at the bottom of Beam Hill, there was extensive work going to be done on this. And as there's a new island being put there by the county council, that these funds that would have been spent on that junction are not having to be spent on that junction, and that figure of £807,000 for highways improvements should be increased.
I think it's something we could perhaps ask some officers to look at, but I think from the advice I'm getting here that it's at a stage where that's not likely to be able to be achieved. Yeah, but I'm being told it wouldn't be reasonable to impose that at this late stage. Councillor Toon.
Well, most of my questions and that have been answered, but I can't understand where another 2,000 cars, both morning and evening, going in and out, two small entrances onto one road, leading either into a village or onto Tutley Road, which is already overused, can be quite all right with the county council. I really can't. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Toon. If councillors haven't got any other comments, I'd perhaps like to sum up. Sorry, Councillor Booth.
Just on a different subject, I understand the school is going to be built, or money is going to be provided for it to build at a trigger point of 300 houses, I think it was. What about the other non-housing? What guarantee have we got that the health centre, the community centre, the retail, the sports are going to come to fruition, or it lays fallow for you, then the developer comes back and says we've got a bit of a space here. I mean, it happened in Brislicon Valley to start with. What guarantees have we got if this goes through that the amenities go in side by side with the housing development?
I suspect from the Chair's point of view, not a lot, having experienced these developments around various places. But if I could ask the officers, Mr Brown, to start a summing up process.
Thank you, Chair. The details are a requirement of the condition, essentially. It forms part of the phasing plan. In terms of the health centre itself, that's tied down within the Section 106 agreement. If there's a demonstrable need, then it has to be provided, as discussed earlier, through the local health partnership, that they will decide whether or not there's a need there. The remaining facilities would be a requirement of the phasing plan, so we'll secure it by condition.
Thank you. I think we're moving to a point here where much has been said. A lot of it's been themed around the highways. Would you like to? No, that's fine. We have a great deal of concern about that as a committee, that's quite clear. And it comes down to really totally valid points raised by Councillor Hall and Councillor Mott, coming, I think, at the same conclusion from different directions. That we are in a situation of an appeal approaching. We have the legal advice we've got. We do feel somewhat helpless of where we're at, and that's been eloquently stated by councillors and summed up by Councillor Mott. Councillor Staples has said it all, I think, in terms of our feelings for the development as a committee, but we are where we are. And if you jump the table across from Councillor Mott's comments that it really isn't the right thing in the right place for us locally and the community surrounding it, we come back to the points raised by Councillor Hall, who's been very involved in this and is fully aware of the legal planning implications that we have imposed upon us. We as a council have got to try and do the best we possibly can with the equipment